Well, I think there are a lot of trends out there at the moment, but let's focus on 2 or 3 that are critical. So I think the tools that we have today, and tools I would call digitization, the artificial intelligence that is enabled through digitization, but also the geopolitical situations that we have, I think those would be 3 big trends that will impact the world of the CPO in future and today already. Through the digitization and big data, so to speak, you have a lot of information at your hand. And what you now need to do is you need to structure that data. You need to align that data in such a way that you can get an impact. And you need to know what you're going to do with that data. That means you need to train people to interpret data. You need to react in a very fast way to the data. And that means you need to also build capabilities around working with real-time data. And it's not only capabilities in terms of people, but it's also capabilities in IT infrastructure. And then you need to adjust the processes. So that means IT infrastructure, people capability, and process alignment. That is something that you need to really think about deeply now. So if you think about digitization and digital, then you get the database for artificial intelligence. And with the artificial intelligence, you can start looking at consumer insights, consumer behavior, demand from your consumers for what type of products in which type of regions. At the same time, it allows you to do exactly the same thing with your suppliers. What are your suppliers going to deliver? What are the trends in the commodity markets, in the electronics, and the raw materials? And with that, you need to think end-to-end between your consumers and your suppliers. And artificial intelligence is, in my view, the only way to manage this end-to-end, because it's just overbearing for an individual or a group of people to manage that data without these tools. Geopolitical changes happen all the time depending who gets elected into the government and what the politics are. And it could have an effect on trade imbalances, it could have an effect on currency, it could have buy American or buy Chinese, as the 2 big prominent countries are now in that dispute. So from our side, we need to really understand those trends, what they mean, and then adjust our strategies. So that means we need to have a global strategy, and we need to have a regional strategy, and even a local strategy for some of the major players, like, for example, China and the US. Well, I think these changes are complex, which means we need to learn to manage these type of complexities. So that means if we're going to talk about a global strategy and a regionalization strategy, we need to be ready for regionalization. That starts with building capabilities in the regions. It starts with finding a supplier base for the customers, because you're going to go local for local. So that means you need to really be a global player. You need to have global control over your organization, and you need to have a global skill set, because at the end of the day, you still need to work together as one procurement organization across all geographies. So that means all organizations need to be at the same level, need to have an understanding of the situation, need to share the right information, and still be locally relevant while driving global synergies. And that is a big task. And the trends that we have with the geopolitical issues, they could be different. They could be a currency topic, and a currency topic is different than a trade imbalance topic. So that means you need to be ready from a mindset and from a capability perspective to really understand what the flavor of the day is that you need to react in a proactive way. I think current and future organizations need to think of the CPO as the CEO of the spend, so the entrepreneur of the spend. And the CPO has to make sure that we think end-to-end along the business cases of the company. So it's an advisor and a stakeholder to the CEO to build those business cases end-to-end. You can build them with supplier-enabled innovation, right up in your development phase. When you build the business case, you can decide which suppliers you're going to take upstream, which technology you're going to take upstream, and then you're in the life cycle management of the company. And I think that's where the CPO needs to play. And then you go downstream to the tactical end, which means that's your classical chasing parts element, which is tactical. And if you have an end-to-end CPO role, you're really in the entrepreneurial role, and in the final stage is the tactical role. But the biggest value will come from being in that space way upstream and taking an entrepreneurial look at the role. Like I just said before, if we're going to be the CEO of the spend, we need to play with sales, marketing, strategy, and R&D at a peer level, which means we need to have the ability to understand where the business case is being built and how the business case is built. We need to bring the value from our suppliers upstream, and we need to really connect to those cross-functional partners at a peer level. So finding that talent is going to be incredibly difficult, or is incredibly difficult, because marketing and sales and R&D is going to compete for that. And we would like to have those capabilities just wearing a procurement hat and driving our agenda upstream. The second thing is you need still excellent category management. So that means managing suppliers, managing the category, managing global trends, understanding it, reverse selling, why is it good to work with Philips and not with another company. Those are still skills that we will need, commercial skills that are essential. And also there, the global war for talent is still on.